Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Monday the 9th of May 2022. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon we bring you the 5 news items that happened today that you need to know about. Let's jump into it. Story number 1. The S&P ASX 200 lost another 1.2% today to finish at 7,121 points. It's now 6% off its most recent highs. Biotech companies Novonix and Imugene were both down more than 11% today, the worst of the top 200. News Corporation fell another 9% after its disappointing results late last week. Almost the best performer today was Westpac. Haven't said that for a while, after announcing a $3.1 billion half-year profit. The result, which included a higher dividend, triggered a 3.3% jump in the bank's share price. But otherwise, there wasn't much good news for the banks, with Macquarie and ANZ both down sharply. The miners were down, with Fortescue off about 5%, as were some other big-name stocks, including property leader Goodman Group. Story number 2. Australia has recorded its lowest daily COVID-19 death toll this year, with just 3 deaths in New South Wales. It's nice to be reporting some good COVID news. Across the country yesterday, there were 37,807 new cases reported, with Western Australia leading the way with 10,400 infections. Victoria recorded over 10,000 cases, followed by New South Wales with just under 8,000 cases. There are 3,139 people in hospital, and 129 of them are in intensive care. Story number 3. The Star Entertainment Group has finally taken action, putting its high roller rebate program on hold while it deals with probity and tax issues revealed in the current public inquiry into its Sydney casino. The Star wrongly allowed 12 gamblers to play as international rebate players, meaning they paid lower gambling duties, as a result of mistakes or poor practices, according to the current New South Wales inquiry. Also, the group has allegedly unpaid state taxes of at least $2.5 million in New South Wales. In a statement, the board of the group said it had resolved to suspend rebate programs for both domestic and international players across all of its casinos. The Star also appointed interim managers to several senior positions after a bunch of resignations late last week. Meanwhile, the first board member appeared before the inquiry today. Richard Shepherd, the chair of Dexus and former boss of Macquarie Bank, accepted that the board is responsible for setting a firm's culture. That contradicts the comments of former CEO Matt Bekier. The inquiry continues. Story number 4. TPG Telecom has sold its mobile tower and rooftop infrastructure network to a Canadian pension fund. It becomes the third telco behind Telstra and Singtel to sell its tower business to pension funds and will receive $950 million for the asset. The big super funds like the reliable long-term income from the infrastructure assets. The Canadian group OMA, already has interests in Port of Melbourne, Transgrid and renewable energy developer FRV Australia. TPG's share price rose 2.3% today. Pretty good effort given what else was going on. And finally, story number 5. May 9 is a very significant day in Europe, particularly in Russia, where it's known as Victory Day, and everyone's wondering how President Vladimir Putin will refer to the war in Ukraine in his speech later tonight. Optimists are hoping he might use it to recast the war as an effort to liberate only parts of Ukraine, whereas pessimists fear he'll use the speech to declare all-out war. Victory Day commemorates the Soviet Union's role in the Second World War. In France, May 9 is known as Europe Day, commemorating the Schuman Declaration back in 1950. Now, the Schuman Declaration was a proposal by Robert Schuman, the French foreign minister, to create a European coal and steel community, which ultimately became the EU. That's it for the afternoon report for Monday, the 9th of May, 2022. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. Join Michael Thompson and I tomorrow morning for the Tuesday Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.